Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial. I'm going to pick up where we left off last time talking about inject. So you recall we did this thing that was really cool where we just got an instance of the calculator class by just putting inject on a field. And now we're going to make this a little bit more real with something called a producer. And producers are so named for the factory pattern. And if you don't know what the factory pattern is, go look it up. It's really useful for a lot of projects. One second, let me mute my phone here. But the factory pattern is used a lot in programming. It's just a regular design pattern, and it's typically used if you need to build a class with certain parameters, and it's kind of a way to like centralize that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to add logging to the calculator class that we can turn on and off. And it's going to be really simple. So we're going to add a private variable here, boolean should log, and then we're going to say if should log and then we're going to add the expression. So this way, it just prints out the expression that we were passed in. So pretty simple, and I'm actually just going to get rid of that. And but it only should do that if should log is set. And we're going to maybe default this to false, or I guess it really doesn't matter. So now we're going to create a constructor that needs a parameter. Now I mentioned last time that in order to use inject, you need an empty constructor or no constructor, so you get the default empty one, but that's not entirely the case, and that's what this is about. So should log, and it's very simple. In fact, we can just, since we're never going to change that. Now, if we were to run this, we would get an error. So inject doesn't know to put like some sort of default value. It's not going to look at the constructor and say, oh, it's Boolean. Well, I'll just put in a default Boolean value. It's not going to try to make any assumptions. So let me show you what happens when we run it and we actually make a request. As you can see, it actually just kills it because it takes a look and let's see if we can find where the error actually says caused by unsatisfied dependencies for type calculator at injection point, calculator API, calculator. So here it's showing, just so you guys get a little better idea of how to read these types of error messages, and they may actually look different at some point, but calculator API, so that's this class, right? And then the dot calculator, so it's saying this field, and this way of representing it is probably weird because calculator isn't actually static. It's an instance method. So so anyway, it just crashes. It just is, we don't know how to do this. We don't want to deal with it. We give up. How do you remedy this? Well, let's configure our calculator class to log things. Let's have every instance for across the whole application be created and do logging. So to do that, we're going to create a new class, and just to be sort of consistent with the naming and to call it something descriptive, I'm going to call it the calculator factory. And the name of this class actually doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you have a method that's annotated with @produces. Now, if you recall, we used @produces before for sending JSON from the server, but this time it's not going to be the same import. It's going to be a different import with the same name, and the import that you need for this produces is JavaX Enterprise Inject. So JavaX Enterprise Inject produces. And then this method, all it needs to do is return an instance of calculator. Make or build instance. The name of the method also doesn't matter. And we're just going to do return new calculator. And we're going to enable logging. So it's actually as simple as that. And the magic that's happening here is when it looks at your application as it's loading, it finds this class, and then it finds this inject, and then it also finds this producer method, and it says, okay, wait, so I need one of these. So you're telling me I need to get one of these, but then you're also telling me how you make one of those. So then what it'll do is it'll create an instance of the calculator factory class, and then it'll invoke build instance. And we're going to see how that works now. So go back to the terminal and run your server. Now, it started up, no errors. So we're going to launch a new terminal window here. And then just so I do curl, and that's a post. Data is going to be 4 plus 4. And we get a result 8. And right in the command line, we get our log message coming out. Expression is 4 plus 4. Great. That's huge. Now, so what this means is that every place in your entire application you call for an injected calculator, it will do the same thing. It will check with the factory, and it will build from this. So that means that instead of replacing code like this all throughout your application, you just change it in one place, wherever the factory is. Now, this is just the basics of a factory, but we're not going to go into more depth quite yet, because you can do all sorts of crazy things in these producer methods. You could even return a different implementation of the calculator class based on the class that it was being injected into. Like, you can do all sorts of weird things with that. But we don't need to cover all those today. We're gonna have to cover them at some point, but I want to get us closer to working on databases and some stuff like that. So thanks for watching, and as usual, the tutorial code will be uploaded to GitHub, where you can file issues and ask questions. Yeah, so thanks and take care. See you next time.